Hello, I know I have been missing in action for the better part of the rest of 2018, but I am here, I am live, I am well. My sister is calling me on FaceTime. How can I help you?
I'm really sad that you're leaving now.
All right, don't be sad because I'm recording a video, so.
I'm about to start crying.
You're gonna be on my video, my top 10 video.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Top 10 books?
Yeah, top 10 books of 2018.
Is The Alchemist on there?
So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Paper Sons by Dixon Lamb. This is a memoir, and it's also the recounting of social and cultural history, and it's told from the perspective of Dixon Lamb, a Bay Area teacher who was struck by the murder of one of his students, and it took him on this journey of connecting his own history of trying to forge a relationship with his father and putting into context everything from Mao to Malcolm X and everything in between, from social justice and violence that he saw growing up, and just his own life of trying to find his way. And I really loved this book because it was such a mosaic, and I know I said this before, but the way that he weaved the stories together was really just amazing. All right, next up is the short story collection by Renee Sims, and it's Meet Behind Mars. I really enjoyed this book. These short stories are some of the most vivid and lively stories that I read this year, and it's about a whole swath of women who are navigating their memories and their ambitions and the relationships they have with family members and friends, and wanting to write a novel, to wanting to get back into activities and hobbies that they once had, and also it talks about a lot of different places in the United States. So in one story you'll be in New Orleans, in the other story you'll be in Washington, and it's just a whole lot of things. And I really think that it's one of those books that reminds you of why you fell in love with reading in the first place, because the storytelling is just that lively. Like like all of the imagery, it will just show up in your mind, and you're like going along these journeys with these characters, and it's just a really great read. So Meet Behind Mars by Renee Sims. And then I read Democracy in Chains by Nancy McLean, and this book, there's a lot of dog barking or something. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it'll stop soon.
6.5 hours later.
The dogs are still barking. Okay. All right, so Democracy in Chains by Nancy McLean, and I am choosing this book at number 7. I just realized I haven't been counting, but this is coming in 10-8. This is number 8. The reason this book made the list is because I read this book at a very good time this year. I have to admit, I've been incredibly angry with the state of politics in America. So I've been angry at a lot of things, obviously, if you've been paying attention to American politics. So when I read this book, it was really great to understand that as much as it seems as if politicians or whoever it is that's in office will say one thing, these are really the mechanisms that are at play, and how everyone's been going around different things just to get their way. And it's like, is it country first or politics first? Are you trying to make freedom inclusive or exclusive? And this was really cool in seeing how all of that comes to be. So Democracy in Chains by Nancy McLean. Then I went across the water to Lagos. I read Welcome to Lagos by Chibundu Onuzo, and this book was incredibly fun. It's such a journey, and it's such an adventure, and it's about these 5 refugees, and they are traveling from one town in Nigeria and trying to make it to Lagos, this popular city in Nigeria. to flee the unrest. And they are led by this military guy, the soldier who is abandoning his post. And the 5 of them are these like misfits, and you don't understand how they came to like have to rely on each other. But their journey to Lagos and what they do once they get there and they come across this money just completely removes the cynicism that was, you know, planting itself in my brain. And then going up a few countries, so She Would Be King is the story of how Liberia came to be in all of this, and these 3 characters and their supernatural abilities all play a part in how Moore crafts the story of understanding what freedom means and what unity means and what it all looks like in the African diaspora, with all of the changes and all of the history that we've all learned about, hopefully that we've learned about. And I don't read a lot of Liberian literature, and I'm Liberian, so I was glad that this book came along in 2018, and it's a treasure. Then that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Now we're in the top 5. And number 5, is it? I'm not in focus. But intimacy is about truth. When you can stand in front of someone bare and their response is, "You're safe with me," that's intimacy. So coming in at number 5 is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Reed Jenkins. Taylor Reed Jenkins. I probably got it right at one of these points. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Romance novels, that's what I was going to talk about. All right, so I love romance novels now. I have been having a really great time all of 2018, really delving into the romance genre. And I think when I read this, it was such a turning point, because at first I was like, oh, these romance novels or love stories are just erotica. Like, it's just all sex and nothing of anything else. And I really love this story because it is such a heartwarming love story that's quite unexpected. It's the story of this glamorous, very dramatic, very aspirational actress who leaves the East Coast in hopes of seeing her name in lights in Hollywood, and boy is she ambitious. And it's just so fun watching other people's lives, especially when it's so extravagant. And this one does not disappoint. But when these characters come to their truth and how much they love each other, there's just, oh, it's really, really fun and very glamorous. And so it was just an amazing, amazing read. Coming in at number 4 is Smoketown by Mark Whitaker. Now, I had a great conversation with Mark Whitaker earlier this year about this untold story of the Black Renaissance that took place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I love history. I love anything that can tell me different, like, 6 degrees of separation and just connecting cultural and historical narratives of America. And this book did just that. From the very beginning through the last page, learning about Robert L. Vann, learning about August Wilson, learning about the ties between so many different public figures throughout history, and all of it happening in this one community, in this one city, multiple communities, but such a treasure. So if you don't know much about Pittsburgh's history, this is a great place to start, and a really, really heartwarming story about community and drive and ambition, and just what is, I think, at the heart of the American story and what continues to keep us going. Coming in at number 3 is There by Tommy Orange. This is his debut novel, and it has really just rocked the world of so many readers, and I understand why. I think that it really lives up to the hype. It is the story of a powwow that's going to be taking place in Oakland, California, where all of these natives are coming together. Some are going to reconnect with their families, some going to reconnect with their heritage and traditions, some are going for more unfortunate reasons because they want to, you know, do crimes. There are people out there that want to do that. And so they're devising these very sinister plans, and it is laced with violence. It is laced with trauma and history, and it's laced with so much empathy and understanding that if you don't know a lot about what's happening in Native communities, this book will just open your eyes to the entire trajectory from the very beginning of us occupying the native lands and then to where we are now with the urban native population. And there are a lot of characters. I know that's one of the point of contentions for a lot of readers, where you have to almost draw a map so that you can keep track of everyone that you read about. But it's so worth it. I loved everything about this novel. So coming in at number 3, they're there. Coming in at number 2, Circe. I love this novel so much. It is about Circe, who was exiled from the gods because she's a witch and she was using her witchcraft to change the fates of other people and to make mortals into gods and to turn nymphs into monsters. And I can't get enough of this story. I also read the Songs of Achilles, and so pretty much Madeline Miller, if she just writes a sentence, I will plaster it everywhere. Like, just an incredible storyteller. And I completely fell into these worlds. Speaking of romance from earlier, the Song of Achilles, I feel like it's my favorite love story ever at this point. I really want to just make one video just gushing about Madeline Miller, because her ability to tap into certain characters in Greek mythology and then just make them central to the story and to give them so much life and so much fullness. I'm forever changed. If you have not read it, I do not know what you're waiting for, because it is so worth the read. Read it over the holidays, read it as soon as you're done with this video, read it as soon as possible, because it is just that damn good. Like, towards the end, I don't want to spoil this, but I mean, she completely gives you an alternative perspective to the Odyssey and I love the Odyssey, but I got to see these characters in such a fun new way, and I'm just, Madeline Miller, I love you. And then there was one, and number 1 of 2018 for me, because it is just a singular experience of ambition and horror and something that I have just not experienced. And number 1 goes to Riddance by Shelley Jackson. Now, my thoughts were provoked. My heart was open. And like I said, I traveled to the side of the dead and I got very comfortable in this very morbid narrative, but it was so moving. Now, Riddance is the story of this vocational school for hearing mild children. Anyone that has a stutter or speech impediment, they go to this school, and the headmistress, she's teaching them how they can listen for ghosts and communicate what the ghosts are trying to say. A student goes missing, and then the school is opened up to investigation, and that's where all of this, the goodness happens. The headmistress is writing letters to the dead. Her father is like trying to communicate through her, and he was such a jerk. And it just, there's so many moving pieces, but the reason I love this novel is because I literally marked up almost every page with how poetic it was. And I think that if you are reading it, I don't know if you want to read it at night, maybe you are susceptible to being scared, so that wouldn't be an option. But really just get a cup of tea, because you just want to be completely engulfed in this story that Shelley Jackson wrote. And there it is, 10-1, 2018. Oh, you were so good to my reading list, my TBRs. I'm just kidding, it's still high. But I had a really, really great time reading 2018 books, and I'm looking forward to what 2019 has to offer. So I am in France. I am going to do another video explaining, but in 2019, I am going to be traveling solo all around the world, and it's going to be from a literary perspective. I am going to continue to put videos out on the Storyscape, that is a given, but I just wanted to let you know I'm in France. Anywho, let me know what you read in 2018. Let me know if you read any of the titles that I mentioned. Let me know what you're looking forward to in 2019. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being along with me in this journey of 2018 reads. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember to read or be read, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.